today is the story of Harbor Humane.
Oh my gosh, that's hard when I've only been here for 4 years. Oh gosh. So Harbor Humane started out in 1956.
It started by a group of concerned citizens.
And we've come a long way since.
We have seen an extreme uptick in animals that are coming into our care.
An animal shelter in Ottawa County now in crisis mode.
And with this ongoing influx of animals coming into the shelter, the employees here are dealing with burnout.
Today we see thousands of animals through our doors.
The number of animals coming in is leaving them scrambling.
We're overcrowded everywhere.
We're prejudging something, animal in this case, by the way they look.
I get really passionate about, telling our story.
It's kind of a big picture all of the time of why being here matters. The good outweighs the bad. So yes, we see all of those really sad, hard situations. We see the worst of humanity sometimes.
He's done nothing to deserve that.
But we also see the best in humanity.
And providing everything from, a safe haven and of course food and shelter and love and enrichment.
So people always ask us about the breeds of our animals, and without a DNA test, frankly, there's really no good way to figure that out. Good Old American Mutts, they are the best type of dogs. You don't focus on the breed standards, you're just focused on the dog.
Harbor Humane Society works to provide a safe harbor for animals entrusted to our care as we strive to secure their future through our adoption, outreach, and educational programs. I think the story of Harbor Humane is just us, being here and changing so much over the years. I think it probably started out as what people would reference a pound and just animals kind of being dumped. Harbor Humane has just changed and grown so much.
As the behavior manager, I am the head of the behavior department, so that means answering any questions that our staff has or adopters have about any animal behaviors. Mainly I do handle our dog population, so that is assessing dogs for adoption, helping adopters before adopting, helping adopters after adoption. The population that we mainly see coming into the shelter is going to be our stray population. Since we are the county shelter for Ottawa County, that means that we have an obligation to take in all displaced animals as strays into our care.
So for animals that come in as strays, we legally have to hold them for a set period of time while we follow our procedures to try to locate an owner.
We do have a very good reclaim by owner percentage, so a lot of those strays coming into us do eventually go home to their owners.
When cats come into our building, primarily we get mostly stray cats. 80% of our cat population is strays that have come in. Unfortunately for us, probably, I think it's around 2% of our cats get reclaimed that come in as strays.
The second population of animals that we have coming in are owner surrenders, and this year especially has been very, very rough for that population in specific. We've seen a lot more animals coming in from owned homes that we've ever seen before.
We have a couple of different programs beyond just our regular adoption program that supports live outcomes for our cats. My goal is to identify if they are cats that can go into our traditional adoption program, so the cats that most people come here for, very friendly, social house cats. But because we are getting a mass population of stray cats, that often means that we are running into feral cats.
So a feral cat is a cat that isn't socialized to people. They are pretty much cats that have just been living outside, either at a farm or in a neighborhood, and are not house cats. They're not friendly. I absolutely love them. I think they're so fun.
So we do have a working cat program.
So if anybody, needs an outdoor cat, needs somebody to chase mice away, that kind of stuff.
Most traditional placement for that is going to a barn or a farm setting. But we have fulfilled needs for working cats at warehouses, like wineries, apple orchards, all different kinds of places. The other option that we have for our cats is we do have a program called Return to Field. Cats that come in from the community that are feral cats have been living, succeeding in the natural environment as a part of the existing ecosystem. When there is a cat that is healthy, not looking sick, frail, underweight, out in the environment, it has multiple food sources. Some cats that are feral cats are truly part of the wildlife. And what that looks like is they come into our care, they get a full medical intake where they get microchipped, they get surgery, so spay or neuter, and then they're released back where they came from. The model has been, we're gonna try to euthanize or kill our way out of the problem with these feral cats. But what research has actually shown is that instead, when you remove those cats, it causes a vacuum effect because there's a gap in the resources in the ecosystem, and it just brings in more cats. So instead, with us fixing them and putting them back, that allows us to maintain the population, and then they're not attracting more cats to that area. So you're kind of stabilizing that ecosystem that already existed.
I do a lot of canine classes, so a lot of education for the public, mainly again about how to handle their pets, train their pets, keep pets in home, help foster communication between them and their pets. Yeah, anything that we can do to create that animal-human bond.
You ready? She's like a little wind-up doll. Ready, set.
And now this is Waffles. I call her my little Malinois in a Chihuahua body because she's so vicious. You're so vicious. Yes. I think she's around 2, and we tell that solely by the tartar buildup on their teeth. It's next to impossible to know any other way. She's really healthy. I know she may look like she's skinny, but I am pretty confident that that's just her body shape. So, you know, like Italian greyhounds and such have a much slimmer body. And I believe that might be what you are. My little Malinois Chihuahua. Being able to talk to people who are struggling with their pets and give them the tools they need, whether it is, you know, work with me, so through canine classes, or if it's our food pantry or our low-cost vaccine clinic or whatever resources that we can offer them so that they can keep their animal in their home, because ultimately 98% of the people who are bringing animals to us, it's not because they don't like their animal, it is because they feel like they don't have any other choice. So Orion's actually older, he's around 5 years old, but you can't tell. He's a puppy till the day he dies, aren't you? He is our handsome boy. He's been adopted and returned twice, unfortunately, because again, I think a lot of people, they want gorgeous dogs, obviously, but they can be a lot to handle, can't they? That's what's really hard about strays. We don't know where they came from, so we don't know if they've ever lived in a home. So we just do our best to kind of listen to them, you know, watch how they interact with different things in the shelter, and try to create a profile for them so that we can find the best fit home that we can. Obviously, sometimes we fail, but we try not to think of those as failures. Try to think of them as like opportunities to learn, you know? Because we're learning more about a dog. Every experience that we have with the dog is a puzzle piece in a very, very large puzzle, you know? One of those like 5,000 piece puzzles or whatever.
So as a customer service representative, we are basically the front face of the company. So we greet everybody that comes in. We are in charge of the phones. Any calls that come through go through us. We also answer all emails, Facebook messages.
So every day here is a little bit different from the day before. We do surgeries 3 days a week. So on those days, I'm helping sedate animals, prep them for surgery, recovering animals. We do spay and neuter all animals before adoption. We want to make sure that they all get fixed before they go to their forever homes. We do surgeries here typically 3 days a week. And we're doing anywhere from 20 to 30 surgeries a day, and that's if it's just basic spay-neuter surgeries. We also have the ability here to do some kind of like extra fun surgeries, so we can remove eyes, remove limbs. We'll do obstruction surgery, so if somebody has eaten a toy that they're not supposed to, we'll go in and take care of that.
So if we get any stray animals that come in, we are the first people that look at them and then do the medical things where we give them vaccines and different medications and preventatives, and then, you know, we're looking over them to make sure that they don't have any scabs, or if they do, then we're like marking that down, and we're really the first eyes of any health concerns for strays that come in. There's a lot that I love about this job. I like being very hands-on and being able to interact with all the different animals.
I am in charge of all the youth and volunteer programs at Harbor, so anything that involves the community and getting them involved here, I have a part in. We do summer camps for kids during the summer where they learn about animals, animal care. We also do little camps throughout the year where they're just day camps and they come in and do kind of a condensed version of our summer camps. We have over 100 volunteers that come in pretty consistently who assist us in all of our daily tasks, but then also help out with our events and fundraisers and really make sure that we're able to do what we do. They get involved with everything from laundry to walking dogs to running events for us.
And while we do have an amazing group of volunteers, we need paid staff to make this place run. We have a bunch of paid animal care professionals here. This is a career for a lot of us. So in addition to staffing, then there's obviously costs to run the shelter itself. This is a large building. We have to heat it, we have to cool it. We need electricity, phone, all of that, and that really adds up. I was just doing budgeting, and I think our budget for gas alone, so gas heat next year, is like $28,000. So yeah, all those little things that people don't think of that add up very quickly.
Many people might not know it, but the shelter is not government funded. We have a small contract with Ottawa County as we do take in all the strays. But outside of that, about 90% of the funding that we require for our almost $2 million budget here is all funds that are raised. General donations is our largest source of income for the shelter.
We have a very wide berth of donors who maybe don't have a ton of money but are willing to give a little, and yeah, that's kind of what makes us operate.
The main focus is fundraising. That ranges from annual events like our Ales for Tails to just smaller events year-round with partners and community members to fundraise. So there are a lot of ways that people can support Harbor. Obviously just general donations, whether you're dropping a check off or donating online. You can even become a monthly donor. It's called our Harbor Heroes program. So anywhere from $5 to $500 a month is just a wonderful way for us to have kind of a baseline of funds throughout the year. We also have kennel sponsorships, so it's a really cool way for you to kind of say, I would like this space, whether it's a large dog space or a cat condo, and get your name on a plaque and a little message if you'd like, but really to just support all the animals that come through that space year-round.
So we try to keep our adoption fees really reasonable, so pets can be accessed for people. The only animal that we're really making money on is puppies because they have a higher price and then they have a low length of stay. Our average cost per animal per day is about $35. So when we have 400 plus animals, I think you can do the math, and yeah, it's expensive, and we run on a very tight margins, but we're able to make it work.
There is no 2 days that are the same. I mean, there's always something to do, whether it's answering a phone call or medicating a sick animal or cuddling with an animal. I mean, honestly, people think our jobs are sometimes cuddling kittens and puppies. A lot of it is, kind of jumping from situation to situation.
No one works here for the pay. Traditionally, nonprofits on this level, all of the employees are vastly underpaid for extremely hard work, both physically and emotionally. The average person cannot come in and work here and see the things that we see every day, what humans are capable of when it comes to neglect and the way animals are treated, but then also just nature and how things happen with animals that have aggression, animals that have been hit by cars, things that are kind of outside of people's control.
We get a lot of people that are coming in that do come into the shelter and say, I don't know how you do it, how you do what you do. I would, go home crying every night or something like that. I would take all of them home. I want to take every animal home, and that's absolutely true, but what you really need to learn is to kind of regulate your emotions, put them in little boxes. If you don't have work-life separation, then there is There's no way that you can really survive in this field. It is very emotional. Burnout, compassion fatigue are things that our staff struggle with daily. It's why we lose a lot of staff.
People would drown if they had to focus on that.
So you really need to, again, learn to kind of bottle that away in a healthy way and then focus on the good.
You know, I've always been a big believer in the Gandhi quote, be the change you want to see in the world, and that's really how I've lived my whole life. There is never a day that I go home that I feel like I haven't somehow touched either an animal's life or a person's life or somehow made it better. Even on the darkest of days, there's still those glimmers of light that we get and we see.
And we also see the reward of like working with the animals and like the animals that are shy, shut down, having a terrible time here, that like we can make their life better and like make a change for them. And just knowing like that difference that we make every single day for just one animal, and then when you multiply that by all of the animals we serve each year, thousands and thousands of animals, that makes a huge impact. And I don't feel like all the pay in the world or no pay in the world could necessarily change my feelings on that.
To see an animal that, you know, comes in here in really bad condition, and to see that animal end up in a home or adopted with a loving family is just an amazing feeling.
We have those wonderful stories of dogs that have lived with us for over a year, and now he's off hiking mountains. His adopter sends us photos of him on the top of a mountain and in a hotel in Chicago and living the best life that he absolutely could. We have a cat who lives on a yacht. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we need to focus on, is those little stories of success.
When we get to see things like that and see these dogs that no one gave a second glance to and see them end up at the top of the world, literally, it's the feeling is this is why we do it.
We're here for the animals and our community, and that's the bottom line, and we'll do whatever it takes, I think, to save lives and to keep, you know, people and pets together and provide whatever resources we can.
Patience is key. I mean, for so many things in life, but again, talking for my job in specific, dog training, patience is key. You can't force anything to do something if they don't want to do it. So it's all about figuring out how to motivate people, motivate animals to get the desired outcome.
I couldn't imagine working a job where I wasn't adding to the greater good of the world.
And then knowing all of our team coming together as, you know, 30 to 50 people and seeing the impact we can make kind of outweighs any bad, any frustrations and the challenges of being here.
You know, we put our heart and soul into things, and I think just being part of a team that is hopefully making a really big impact, you know, in our county and beyond state lines. It's amazing to come to work every day and just feel really good about what you do and the people you work with and the mission overall.
The pet overpopulation problem is really, at the end of the day, a people problem. People not being responsible when it comes to getting their pets spayed or neutered, getting them vaccinated, and just being very thoughtful about what pet ownership is and looks like. Because it is such a people-driven problem, people are the solution to that.
There are so many animals in this world. Everywhere it's overcrowding, overflowing with animals that need love and care. The animals that we have in our care are just as wonderful as animals that you can get from a pet store, that you can get from a breeder.
I think there's a lot of reasons that it's important to adopt a shelter pet. Not only are you opening a space in the shelter for another animal in need and saving literally a life, but you're also saving two. You're adopting the animal you're bringing home, and then another that can come in. I do believe that shelter animals kind of have a sense of being thankful and aware of the situation that they've been in and where they've come, and being in a home, and you know, it's life-changing for them, and I think for people too.
There is no dog like a rescue dog in all the great ways. They have so much love to give. They have so many quirks and just these little nuances of their behavior that, I mean, frankly, are hilarious. They are the best dogs you could ever have.
And really here at Harbor, we're looking for people to make connections and to find that love of their life, that new member of their family, and to bring them home to their forever home.
You know, they found him by like a railroad track or something. Somebody found him and brought him in. I just typed in Humane Society Holland, and there it was. And his picture was the very first one. And then I read on him, and I found out that he was deaf, and you know, that he had been there forever. So yeah, he was really chill. We kind of hit it off. He tried to get in the car with me instead of them that day, which is against the rules. Not that he has ever listened to a rule in his life. I called on a Monday saying I'd like to take him, and they're like, well, we'll see you on Friday. And I was like, a whole week? The reason they made me wait till Friday is because all the staff knew him, and they threw him a huge party. And I went to pay for him, and the foster parents had paid for him. And that's how, you know, I'll pay it forward and just donate money so the next person gets the free dog. And that's how it should go.
It's an incredibly rewarding thing, and just seeing them grow and blossom.
And I think a lot of times there's a lot of reasons that people maybe won't go to a shelter to get an animal. They, you know, oh, it's too sad to go in there, I'm gonna feel bad about it. Or another thing we hear is, you know, something's wrong with those animals, that's why they ended up in a shelter. Shelter animals are not broken, they are really just victims or survivors of circumstance who ended up here through no fault of their own. And I think people need to realize that they are deserving of love, and they have so much love to give if you take a chance on them.
So we are not anti-breeder like a lot of people will think we are. There are absolutely places for responsible breeders who are doing their best to you know, further the breed and make sure everything is healthy and all that. So as long as you're doing your research, I am absolutely not against breeders. However, rescue animals, there are obviously an absolutely mind-boggling amount of animals that are out there looking for homes, obviously, and if they're not in a home, they're sitting here in a shelter, which is no life for anybody.
The harbor is great, like humane societies are great, but no matter what, it's not a home, you know? There's a lot, I mean, I get anxious at them, you know, so let alone what it's like to live in one.
We have animals from 8 weeks old to seniors that we really believe that you can find a perfect fit.
If somebody walked in here and told me the age that they wanted, what they wanted the cat to look like, the gender, and the personality, guaranteed I could find a cat for them, no problem.
Because shelters exist, we're able to help out people who can't take care of their animals anymore. We're able to pull from high-risk shelters down south. So by adopting, you're saving multiple animals' lives, not just the one that you're taking home.
It's just a different game than it used to be, and it's you know, one that we're all very passionate about and stand behind. And I think there are still people that we come across that say, oh, I didn't know Harbor was there, or what do you do? And I think that's a huge part of my job that I'm passionate about, is just telling our story and making sure people do know that we're here, what we do, you know, that we're not just a temporary housing facility for animals, but we also provide so much more. That's what I love, is just being able to kind of let people know about us, but also change perspectives. I think, you know, when you even talk about, you know, pit bull type dogs and what people, you know, may feel about that one particular thing, being able to sit down and have conversations with people in our community and potential adopters about that and the kind of stigmas out there and stereotypes and how we can shift some of that.
Sure. Yes, a pit bull can be a very scary thing when it's running at you if you don't know what it's going to do. But so I have the same issue with a Chihuahua. Like, you know, like, I don't know what it's going to do.
It's not, you know, I can't afford this pet right now, so I shouldn't have it. It's how can we help you keep that pet, you know, with you or with your family, and just being in a place where, you know, things are changing, and it's not just a place to dump animals. And yeah, it's exciting.